would like you to share this with our audience while we were discussing over the phone, regarding the recent saga of the European Parliament members or the European countries, including the UK, by the way, coming out and talking about against France, its continued colonization in Africa. Is it really, and we see it going viral on also social media, and of course to mention one is the recent one is the one, where the Italy, the lady where
it's the prime minister. I think she's called Giorgia Meloni.
Yeah. Okay. So where she's talking about basically the same thing what Dr. Arikana has been said 3 years ago or 4 years ago, and which got her to be fired or dismissed from being the ambassador of the African Union to the US. So, but we see them viral. And then, so the question is, are they really sympathizing Africa, or are they just using us, to really bully each other within the European countries?
Is important because these are teaching. You see, I do most of the times try to talk a lot because there is no issue that exists. There is no issue that exists within itself. There's no issue which exists in isolation. But you find that what most of the people, what most of the things people are saying are attached to other reasons. People have reasons why they are saying whatever they are saying. So instead of you taking things on face value, it's important for us to understand why people are doing whatever they are doing. Like when we spoke about the US Africa Summit, this is, I'm just giving an example. I'm not going back to the US Africa Summit, but why is the US Africa Summit happening? So that is what we, as Pan-Africans want to understand. We want to understand why is the coup in Mali there. That is what we try to understand as Pan-Africans, not just to react as the African Union and ECOWAS and say, oh, on face value, put sanctions. I mean, that is not African, and this shows that you are not educated about what is happening. Or you are a coward even yourself. You have decided to sell out your people and not act in a respectable manner that is going to benefit your people. And so this is the position you see that in many cases ECOWAS and African Union has taken. Instead of standing on their feet and defending the people, the African people, they have taken the position of the oppressor. So it's important to understand the reason for things. Why did the coup happen in Guinea? Why did the coup happen in Burkina Faso? Like you said, are all coups negative? Some of these coups are not negative. There's a lot of people who condemn coups, but some of these coups are brought about by people. So all situations have to be analyzed. Now, when we go to Giorgia Meloni and her comments and the comments she made about France, because she's the prime minister, the new prime minister of Italy. Definitely, she made those comments before she became the prime minister of Italy. As the prime minister of Italy, of course, she would not make those comments. Now, you asked the question, did she make these comments where she's attacking France for its colonialism? And by the way, why was she attacking France? She was attacking France because of the European Union policy on immigration. That was the spark of that, rambling, of that anger, which she was pouring out and attacking France, because she's Italian, and Italy and places like Greece and Spain have been plagued, are the ones who have been plagued so much with the problem of immigration. Most of the immigrants who are coming, especially from countries like Middle East and others from North Africa, these people have been mostly going to Italy, Spain, Greece. Some of them definitely have been going to Germany and France. But again, Italy economically is not well. Like we said in the beginning, the economies which are contracting and the economies which started actually, facing problems. We had Spain, we had Greece, we had Italy. Those countries are so worse off when it comes to to their economies, that the youth unemployment, some of them is as high as 20%. Some of them even 50%. So Italy is one of those countries which have an economic problem. So that is why you see that there's this economic nationalism. So she views immigration, the immigration policy of the European Union, as a threat to the Italian economy. It has robbed Italy of its sovereignty. That is what she sees. Okay, so this creates a conflict within the European Union. So she's not saying these things to France because she loves the Africans. She's saying these things because she wants to protect Italy. She wants to protect the jobs in Italy. She wants to protect the Italian economy. And France and Germany are saying you should let the immigrants in. And for her, she's saying that it is France who is robbing Africa and the Africans of their economies, of their resources. It should stop robbing the resources so the Africans can build their own economies. Because France is stealing. And actually, whatever she's saying is true, is the truth. Okay? But she's not saying this truth because she loves us. She's saying it because she wants to protect, the economy of Italy. And France and Germany are saying, if you look at Germany and France, they are the ones who have troops they are the ones who had troops in the Sahel. Germany and France. What are they doing there? They are extracting the gold and the uranium from the Sahel. They are extracting the sunshine in the northern part of Africa and sending the sun, the solar energy to Europe to power their countries. So, and this is what they are, what she's saying. So France and Britain, and it's the same thing. It takes us back to the same thing which our economists like Dambisa Moyo has been, have been saying, that Africa does not need aid. So what she's saying is that stop pretending that you are giving aid to these people. Leave them alone to take care of their business. Because your aid is in fact actually exploiting the people. You are using the aid. You are using the aid to exploit the people. So she's saying that France should come out of the African continent and Africans should manage their own affairs, build their economies so that they are not traveling to Europe to look for better lives. And that is what also we have as Africans, and Dr. Chombori has been saying, Dr. Arikana Chombori has been saying. So, and Africans get excited over this, of course. But this excitement, I think, it stems from the Africans for a very long time waiting for a savior, okay, to say the things which Africans are feeling inside, okay? It's not that the Africans get excited because the Europeans are attacking each other, but because our African leaders are not saying these things. They are the ones who are supposed to say these things. Our African leaders all over the continent, Nana Addo, Macky Sall, Abdou Fattah Sisi, all of them, Museveni, Uhuru Kenyatta, Ramaphosa, these people should be saying these things. But they are not saying it. They fear. You see, recently, PLO Lumumba gave a speech where he said that African leaders are being intimidated. We are being colonized, and these people are being intimidated. They fear to say the right thing. So that is what PLO Lumumba said recently on his talk when he was in Nigeria. So when such people come out, to say these things, Africans, we get excited because for a very long time, we are waiting for somebody to speak for us. And that person is not appearing. And especially the people in power, we need somebody in power who is responsible, people in presidency, somebody in the presidency. But rather, our African leaders, instead of saying these things, they say that they are engaging in diplomacy. So they start sugarcoating the truth. They don't want to speak the truth to power, to speak the truth to France and tell them that they should get out of the continent, or to tell the United States that we don't want the military bases on the continent. Instead, they move around and they say they are engaging in diplomacy, and they start, accommodating the lies. But as Pan-Africanists and people who are looking at the new Africa that we want to construct, the new Africa which we want, I think this is an opportune time for us when we look at things like this. It's very good for us to understand that there is a conflict within the imperialistic camp. And that conflict within the imperialistic camp, we have always found a way of taking advantage of it. So when they are fighting against each other, like how they have been manipulating our differences, like you see what happened recently in Tigray, that they come and manipulate this difference to their advantage. It is a time for us also as Africans to take advantage of these differences. When we see the United States is having problems with France because the United States is taking over deals which France was supposed to do with Australia. It was supposed to deliver submarines, or diesel submarines, and the United States comes and bullies France and takes over to supply the submarines to Australia. Supply it instead with nuclear submarines. Then we know that there's a problem within this camp. We are supposed to take advantage of that. We are supposed actually to latch onto that message and amplify it as Africans and use that message to mobilize our people, because that is what has been done even in the past. When you look at a year like 1791, the people in Haiti, the Africans in Haiti, they noticed that there was a problem between France and Britain. France and Britain were contesting and we are fighting after Britain had lost the United States as a colony in 1776. So in 1791, our people saw the conflict between France and Britain, because Britain now was paranoid about France overtaking it as the biggest economy in the world. So it started, blocking France from taking slaves from Africa. This information is present in a book called The Black Jacobins, which was written by C.L.R. James. That book, C.L.R. James was a very good associate of Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. He's the one who wrote that book about the Haitian Revolution. The book is called The Black Jacobins. And so Britain starts blocking France, and they start fighting in the Atlantic Ocean. They start fighting a war. So Britain was blocking France from coming to Africa to take slaves, because France used to buy its slaves from Britain. Britain was the biggest slave catcher. You see, it benefited the biggest, from slavery. So what it did is that it started fighting France. They started fighting on the sea, and our people, they saw this, that these people were fighting against each other. So they also started fighting against France in Haiti, and they defeated France. And when they defeated France, and these were Africans, majority of the people were brought from Africa. They were not indigenous Asians, but they were from Africa and they had been taken there as slaves. So they defeated France, they defeated Napoleon, they defeated Britain, because when they defeated Napoleon and France, Britain came, it wanted to take over the colony because it was the most profitable colony. Haiti was the San Domingo, which is Haiti today, was the most profitable colony. So France wanted to take over, Britain wanted to take over the colony after France was defeated. They fought against Britain and defeated it after defeating France. And Spain also came. It wanted to re-enslave them. They refused, and they fought against Spain also. They fought 3 superpowers during that time. So it is during these moments that our people have found a chance to liberate ourselves. And when you come also to 1945 and 1940s, our people who organized the Manchester Conference, where even Nkrumah was, people like Jomo Kenyatta and all others were, people like George Padmore, who would later fight for Africa's independence. They organized that after noticing that Europe, the superpower at that time, France and whoever, Germany, they were weakened by the super, you know, by the World War II, the so-called World War II, which P.L. Lumumba normally calls the European tribal wars. You know, these tribal wars, they were fighting against each other, so they had been weakened. That is why even the United States came in to give them the Marshall Plan, because they destroyed everything in their own countries. So after that, our people saw this is an opportunity for us to fight against these guys, because they are at their weakest point. So when they are fighting and wrangling against themselves, this is an opportunity for us. And starting the year 2020, even up to now, this is a great opportunity for us as Pan-Africans and people who are conscious about what is happening in the world, that we need to organize ourselves. These moves which the United States is making, Africa Summit, US Africa Summit, all these are just face saving. But it's because they are seeing that where they are going, the future is bleak. They are looking, where to latch themselves, where to hold themselves. And we as Africans, we should not allow this. And I believe that they have found us when we are awake this time. This is not 1884 and 1885, where they will just sit in Europe and make resolutions and come here and take over. So I believe that we are going to put up a very, very strong fight. So those comments which were made by that lady, Giorgia Meloni, the current prime minister of the prime minister of Italy, they were not because she loves us, but because there's friction within the European Union itself. You saw Brexit, that Britain broke away. There has been friction recently, definitely. Hungary is also moving in a different direction, is opposing some of the policies, especially the energy policies of the European Union. Germany is also started. You remember, Olaf, I think, Scholz, the German chancellor, has just left China. He went to make his own deals as Germany. So there's a friction within the European Union. So this is an advantage for us to study. That's why it's important as Africans, because now we are living in a global village. We cannot, afford anymore to live in isolation and not pay attention to what is going on in the other parts of the world. So it's very important for us to read what is going on in the European Union, read what is going on in the United States. I mean, by reading, I mean pay attention to what is going on there. So there is already a huge crack within the European Union, huge one, that we should take advantage of as Africans. And those comments by Giorgia Meloni, the Prime Minister of Italy, is one of them. That is one of them. So she said them to protect herself in that case, but not because she loves the Africans or because she loves Africa.
Thank you very much, Kwame. That's exactly what I wanted, for you to bring to our audience, that we really need to understand what is the deeper state of this. Where does it come from?